Hi there, it's Barry again. I'm here to talk to you today about Y.S.Park again. So I'm going to go over the rest of the combs that I didn't cover last time. So if you'll want to check, don't look at the book, I've got it stuffed full of combs, but I'm going to be going through that book, so if you've got one, feel free to follow along in the book. So right now I'm just doing cutting combs and the barber combs. So you'll see there's quite a lot of them, and you'll notice that a lot of them look very, very similar. Really, that's just in the picture. Once you have them side by side, you'll see there's a big, like size discrepancy. So they're not as difficult to tell apart as they might appear, but even still, I'll go through them all anyways. So the first one we have here is the YS231. This is one of the barber combs. Now this is a more standard barber comb. This thing is going to be very precise. It's got a good flexibility. Really tight teeth, so really good for getting in fades. Any barber who's really been working for a long time, they're going to appreciate this. A student might not get so much out of it, although to train with this would be amazing. So much like the rest of the line too, they have the same imido plastic material, so antibacterial, antifungal, as well as heat and chemical resistant. Obviously to a barber, not that big of a deal, but still nice. They still do colors and whatnot. And yeah, really nice little grip on this one. This is one of those combs that a barber they're gonna keep this for the rest of their life. Like, it's such a versatile thing. So really, what's the difference between that and the next one? Simply the teeth. So this one has really, really fine teeth, so you can get in a lot more of a closer shave. So then the next one we've got is the YS239 and the YS209. Sorry. So they're both the same. One is just a different material, so it's a little less flexible. So this is the more flexible of the one. Now this is the ultimate student's comb. This is the best for barber students or even just any hairstyling student. Really, because it allows you to get so many different types of holds on here. You can get your hand comfortable however, and so makes it so much more versatile than just a regular comb. But also in learning hairstyling, you need to get comfortable doing things. So this really allows you to get a good idea of how you can hold things, and it gets your hand a lot more used to holding things in a different way, because as hairstylists we often have 3-4 things in our hands at the same time, so it's a nice little skill. What's really cool about this too is that it has that mark on the inside. Oh sorry, there we go. So you can see the dip there, and that, like everything in the Y.S.Park line, can be used to find the weight line. So anywhere that this gets dragged over the head and makes a 90-degree angle with the floor, you know that that's the weight line. Stylists and barbers will know you cut the hair differently in those spots. But what's interesting about that is that they teach you about the weight line, but they don't really explain to you that the weight line is different on every single head. And so for a student, that can be very nerve-wracking. So to have something where you can quickly just check, unbelievable. Really, really fabulous comb. Great for back combing, scissor over combs, that kind of stuff, and really, really flexible. So you can still do nice fades with this. You can get into hairlines. Really, really fabulous comb. And so that, yeah, comes in the different colors. Really, the camel it's a little bit sturdier than this one, so it just won't be quite as flexible. But really, that's it. All right, next we have the YS232 and the YS252. So these two look very similar in pictures, but outside of pictures, completely different. So really just the difference in color between the two. They're pretty much exactly the same. The black carbon ones just have a little bit more of that heat resistant, chemical resistant stuff, whereas the pink, it's for the color that they put it in. But really, still standard barber comb. So this is different from the next one, the 254, which I'll cover in a second, as it gets a lot more narrow. But this is your standard barber comb. Now what's so special about this one, I don't know if you'll be able to see this too well on the camera, but if you can see how narrow it gets thick, 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 thin, 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 thin. So because it's so narrow here, you can get such a good bend on that. That's really, really great for getting in hairlines, around edges. Really, really handy tool. And on top of that, just being a great barber comb to begin with. So you also have the teeth that get closer together. Same with the last one I did. Just for being able to grab more hair. Really, really fabulous tool. So yeah, that's the two of those. The 232 and the 252. Really quite simple. Next we have the 254, and personally this is my favorite comb of all time. This thing you'll get from my cold dead hands. So if you'll notice the difference between this and the last one I did, you see it gets a lot more narrow. So this one, you can see, gets so thin that you can get just a crazy bend out of this thing. So really, really unbelievable for mustaches, any really fine work with facial hair. Again, great, great barber comb. And again, still has all of the same characteristics, the heat resistant, the chemical resistant, which, unbelievable. Next, we're going to go on to the other clipper combs. So we have two at the moment, the 280 and the 282. So in pictures, again, they look very similar, but once you get them side by side, completely different. So you have the large version and you have the smaller version. Essentially, they're used for the same thing. These are standard clipper comb. Any barber is going to know what to do with this. You've got the measurements on top, you've got the flexibility, you've got the same imidoplastic that's heat and chemical resistant, and really, really fabulous tools. Now what's neat about these is he also puts that dip, the little divot on the top, that allows you to find the weight line. Now, typically someone buying this is not going to be a student, they're going to be someone who's been at it for a lot longer. But just having that, what a fabulous little extra thing to put on, you know? Really great. So, I mean, again, these kind of combs, you don't really have to do a lot of selling for these kind of things. People who know what they're looking for are going to come find what they're looking for in these. And I mean, who's going to pick this one versus this one? Someone who's doing shorter hair, someone who's doing longer hair. Really quite simple. They will know what they're looking for in regard to that. If it's a student, you know, usually better off to get them to go for the smaller one. That way they can move up to the larger one as they go. It's a lot less limiting. But really, any stylist can do anything with either. So again, great plastic, sturdy construction. So now we're going to go on to the cutting combs. So that was the barber combs and the clipper combs that I've covered so far. Now we're going to go into the cutting combs. So the first one would be the YS332. So that'll be this one here. And so again, in the book they look a lot alike, but once you get them side by side, completely different. So, what is this one? This is your cutting detangling comb. So, like the rest, it's got the measurement, 1 centimeter holes, so you can measure. You have the teeth that get closer together for the tension. You have that nice texture that keeps you from slipping if you have oils in your hands. And yeah, a really nice strong comb. This one is actually a little bit less flexible than some of the other ones, and really that's because it's a detangling comb. This is something we're going to be, you know, potentially ripping through hair with. But don't forget too that all of the Y.S.Park tools, none of them have seams in their teeth. So even if you're going roughly through these things, they're not going to scrape like another comb typically would. This comb in particular combines the square teeth with the round teeth, obviously because the one side we're using for cutting and taking sections in hair, the other one we're using for more detangling. However, a really, really neat thing about the Y.S.Park line in general with those round teeth, as a hairstylist, when we're taking a section on hair, of our hair, we're usually these days, we're going to take a section, we're going to cut it, and then we're going to go later on and cut into it, you know, just to thin it out. What's neat about these teeth is that they give you a loose grip on the hair. That way you can take the hair and just cut straight, and it will give you that shattered look because you're not getting tension on the hair. Really, really neat. So that's a really nice, helpful tip for hairstylists. Most people don't realize that you can do that. We've been taught to take the section twice and come in and break it up, but really, really nice thing. You can do a quick shattered cut in half the time. Really amazing. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for the 332. Next we've got the 334 and the 335. So in the pictures, they're identical. Side by side, big difference. One is considerably longer. So obviously, I mean, that's the reason for that. Longer hair, shorter hair. Pretty simple. And a lot of people, I've noticed when they're buying this, they'll be like, which one should I get? And it's like, well, what do you do more? Do you do a lot more long haircuts where you're going to need that extra space on the comb? If not, go for this one. For a regular stylist who's doing more women than men, but men and women, this is your safest bet. You're going to use that between both. Whereas someone who's doing mostly just women, they're a lot safer buying this one. You're not going to need you're not doing a lot of short haircuts. You can still do short haircuts with this. It's just obviously a lot more in your hand. But really, any stylist can do any sort of thing with any sort of comb. They just have to know what they're doing. So really on these combs, one of the small distinctions will simply just be this, in that if you look and have this lined up with the floor, you'll notice that it's straight along here and then it starts to go up here. So they get a little bit more narrow at the end. So again, for cutting. Teeth also get closer together as they go for that tension. We have the round teeth here on the detangling side, the square teeth here on the cutting side. Parting notch, all of our measurement tools, nice strong hard plastic, keep chemical resistant, and the measurements. A really, really fabulous tool. To be honest, one of my favorite Y.S.Park tools. So next we have the 336 and the 339. Now, also these ones in the picture, completely identical, but you can see that one is larger than the other. So, and that's really the difference between the two. Standard cutting comb. This one doesn't get more narrow at the end, so it's got a wider base, unlike the other two, so that would be the difference between those. So this one is a more standardized cutting comb, whereas the other one is a little bit more specialized. So this is just your standard cutting comb. Again, all the same characteristics as the last one. We've got the teeth getting closer together by 1/100th of a millimeter. Round teeth, square teeth, measurement holes, sturdy. But as you can see, like when I bend this, I'm not getting much bend out of the black ones. Out of the colored ones, you get a little bit more pliability. So really, when you're looking at the book and seeing what those differences are, really that's that fine difference between the two. One is a little bit bigger and a little bit more solid. One is a little smaller and a little bit more pliable. So the stylists themselves will know what they're looking for in that case. And again, if you have a new student, a new client, or a new hairstylist and they're not really sure, generally going for the more solid one, this is going to be the safer bet for them as a student. They're less likely to break it, and they can really still do anything they want with this. You're losing a centimeter, of length, so really the specialty people will get what they need out of this one. Anyone else should be fine with this. So that, again, was the 336 and the 339. Next we have the 345 and the 452. So the 345, and this one we actually have in multiples. Again though, there's slight differences between the two. So the 354 is this one, and you'll see that it's the G45 here. But they are essentially the same sort of thing. So the 354, unlike the G45, this one has, I don't know if you can see there, it has actual listed out measurements. So it's like a little ruler running along the top. The 345 does not have that. It's just plain black. So it is essentially the elite version of this one. This one itself is more for students. That's why it has the measurements on the top, just so that they get a better eye view of learning those numbers and remembering them. The other one, they all still have the hole, so they all still have the measurements regardless. So it's just to help students remember, really. I think there's a slight price difference between this one and the other one. I think this one is a little bit more expensive. So for most people who are looking for everything they want in this, and this one might be a little too much, you can always offer them the 345. It's the exact same comb. On it you have the divot on top that will allow you to find the 90-degree mark. It's actually on both sides. So really, really handy. Great tool. Pretty much just a standard cutting comb. This is essentially what any new student is going to want to start with. This has everything you need in it. Good flexibility, nice and strong. Again, the heat resistant, chemical resistant, all of those great things that Y.S.Park puts into all of his tools. Party notch, you name it. So there's that. And there's the Y.S.452. So this one, oops, sorry. This one here is the straight up detangling comb. Now I say that even though I've just shown you how you can use it to use techniques to save yourself time in hairstyling or in certain types of styles. Again, stylists can find better uses for this or more uses than we list. Mr. Park didn't miss that though, let me tell you for sure. So yeah, just a great comb. This one is the best to explain or display the round teeth, because I mean obviously you can see how round those teeth are, and that there's no seams in between. That's a really important thing, because that is what's scraping the cuticle layer off the hair when we're scraping through it. So yeah, you're getting a really low damage comb through with this guy. Really fabulous tool. I mean, I would suggest every hairstylist who does women with curly hair, you need one of these. Really great for cutting curly hair too, because you never want those real sharp lines. You want a little bit of a play. So just taking your regular sections with this comb gives you that and saves you a lot of time. But again, fabulous comb. Next we have the G45, which I showed you already, that pink one. And so this, the same as the 345, it's just the more student version, so it's got all of the things on it. And we actually have two of those. We have a shorter one and a longer one. So this is the longer one, and then there's a shorter one, which I believe just comes in white. But yeah, those two, more for students or for people who really like that measurement on the top. Alright, after that we have the YS601. So this is your wet brush, detangling brush. Really simple standard comb that you can, most comb brands out there will have one very similar to this, if not identical. The only real difference would be this. So I don't know if you can see that. So that actually allows us to set it and have it stand up. So if I can find a little box here. And that's just great. So if you're combing through colors, it's not going to get color all over the table. Really nice, simple thing. Just to help it stand up. One extra little thing to make the comb we're using. And it's rare that you find these with parting notches, so really nice. Yeah. And again, heat resistant, chemical resistant. This one actually is a lot more sturdy than the rest of the combs. Like if we ever see one of these things break, I'll be very surprised. Like very sturdy. Great stuff. So that is pretty much it for the combs. I'm going to do one more video about the brushes, but until then I'll quickly go over the extra things that we have in Y.S.Park. So we have our neck fitter, which I'll talk about in a second, our bowl, our Y.S. sprayer, our two diffusers, so that's them out of the bag. I'll talk about those in a sec. And then we have a neck pillow as well, but I don't have one at the moment. I'll talk about those in another video. So, neck fitter. What is this thing? Right? A lot of people don't quite get this. And I've been noticing that a lot of new stylists or barber students, it seems like they miss that. They don't cover that anymore in hair school. So I'm curious about that. They used to, every salon always had like the heavy thing you put over a cape protector essentially. But you don't see those anymore. So that's what this is. Not only is this going to give you a more solid connection around the neck. So very hard to get hair down in there. Really, really handy for that. What's also neat about this is that it's made out of that same durable plastic and rubber. So it's actually really, really hard to cut through. So it protects the back of your cape anytime you're doing, you know, a little bob or anything where you're getting really, really close into that hairline. Obviously, as well, this gives you a really tight seal on the hair, so there's no hair going down the neck. But it also allows you to see where those lines are and get really, really close into there. Now, some of you are probably saying, oh, that's black, I have black hair. Yes, we have, it's a tan colored one as well, so for dark hair or for light hair. Really, really fabulous tool. Nice to have in a salon. The bowl. The bowl is just fabulous. So if you notice, it's got these little things on the bottom here. Makes it a lot more sturdy on the desk, a lot less likely to tip. You have a little spot for cleaning your brush off here, as well as, I don't know if you can see in there, but there's measurement markers all along here, so you can measure. Now this is one of the coolest items to show people for what the Imido plastic really is. It's hydrophobic, so that means any water touching this thing is repelled by it. So simply, the water beads. No matter what, it always beads, because it will not ever bond with the plastic itself. It's hydrophobic, so really, really neat for that. Makes it great for cleaning, makes that a whole lot easier. One of the really neat things about this too is the conical shape you have in here. It actually prevents oxidization because you have less surface area. So any color or bleaches you're putting in here, they're not going to oxidize as quickly. Handy, helpful little tool. And then my favorite, spray bottle, the Y.S. sprayer. So what is so special about this is they have built in their own little micro mesh in here, and to clean it you just have to flip it around and give it some spritz through. Now anyone just picking this tool up and using it, especially it's really good when it's just filled with air and empty, because when you squeeze it you always get that you always get good pressure out of it. So they have a really good design of a system for pulling the air or water out of there. Creates a really nice vacuum seal. So really, really great for that. But not even the coolest thing. Obviously, the shape as well is meant for us to be able to hook it on things or to be able to hook it inside. I don't know if you can see that there. You can't, but anyways, you can hook it over desks, you can hook it over things. Nothing fits in the screen. Anyways, can hang, put in your pocket. Really, really nice, handy for that. Not even the coolest part. So the coolest part about this is this ball here. So this ball is made out of, I'm not sure exactly, I think it's zinc and aluminum. But anyways, what it does is it removes the chlorine from the water. And I wish I wouldn't know where to find just straight up chlorine like Mr. Park uses. But usually when he does a Skype or a video or a training course, he'll start by talking about his products, not even talking about this, but he pours a glass filled pure chlorine, and it's like yellow, yellow, yellow. It's disgusting. And he drops this ball in there, and then he goes on with his presentation. And by halfway through the presentation, that yellow liquid is now completely clear, and it's just water. What's really, really neat about that is it literally just attaches to the ball in the thing. And so once a month, you get some soap and some water, and you just wipe off the excess around the outside of it. Really, really great. Super, super cool tool. After that, we have the diffusers. So these diffusers, now it's funny too, a lot of people pick these things up and they think, oh, what is this? It's a little bag. It's not a bag, it's a diffuser. We're used to seeing these kind of diffusers. And what's interesting about this is that the purpose of a diffuser is to block the air pressure. The air pressure from the blow dryer is what helps remove the curl. It's that air pushing down on it, removing that curl. So what a diffuser is supposed to do is give you heat without pressure. Now obviously these, you can see holes right through it. So anywhere you can see right through, the air is going straight through. That's still applying pressure. So does this work as a diffuser? Yes, but not nearly to the level that it's supposed to. And most people don't even realize that because they've only ever been using these kind of things. But this is what's so funny. So here we have the Y.S.Park diffuser. And really cool. Fits anything. So we just simply have a little bag. Put the nozzle inside of that. And then you just stretch this over the back and then it tightens. So really, really neat. The mesh itself is made out of aluminum and tin, and that actually helps break down the water molecules. So the aluminum and the tin, their chemical makeup, I believe they're missing an electron, and so any time that they come into contact with water, it's just going to naturally break those up, whether this thing's on or off. I can just set it in my hair and it will naturally break those. I mean, obviously, putting it there without any pressure is not going to dry my hair, but it will speed up the evaporation process of the hair. But yeah, so by turning this on, we get no pressure from the air whatsoever. We just get the heat radiating, and that's what makes this thing so special. And really, until you try it, you know, it's easy to talk about, but put it into action and it works. And so this comes in the two different sizes, so the large and the small. I mean, realistically, they'll fit most anything. They tighten. Really, really great tool. So that is it. I believe I just have the one more with the brush, but I'm not sure where it is, so I'll cover it in the next video. Thanks.